What's up, everybody? I'm Unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAQ Japan's frequently asked questions. If the cicada noise is a bit too much today, I apologize. Last video I was dealing with a lot of wind, so my voice becomes kind of all weird and demonic sounding. People said, that's wind. That's wind for you. It really messes up your microphone no matter what camera you use, unless you've got like a really nice microphone, which I don't. So, got a bit of a ramble today, guys. If you're one of my viewers that loves the cutoff point of an average of 7 minutes and 30 seconds, as my analytics tell me people do, I apologize. This one's probably going to go longer than that, to put it lightly. Why is it going to go longer than that? Well, today I'm kind of covering a topic that I think I really have to be thorough with how I explain it. Otherwise, people are going to just flame up the comments hardcore. And you know, I don't look for my viewers to get in a war with each other in the comments. I actually prefer constructive criticism, conversations that get us places, that open my eyes to new things, that open your eyes to new things, etc., etc. So, what is it that needs to be discussed in great detail? Well, recently I have been getting a lot of messages about a fellow J-vlogger who I have no beef with. Like I said, there's nobody, I don't think there's really anybody in the J-vlogging community that I actually hate. There may be some people I don't agree with their point of view of Japan, or perhaps their experiences vary from mine, but their experience is their experience, and I can't argue with that. But this J-vlogger, who I'll name, it's not a big deal. Obviously, I have to be able to do the video. Ryan Boundless recently made a video about sandwiches in Japan. Now that sounds like a pretty petty topic, right? Like, people are writing you about videos over some sandwich video. Yeah, and there's been other ones too. He has a series called Dream Crusher. If you're unfamiliar with Ryan Boundless, let me just give you a little bit of background. His whole series in Japan is very different from most people's series. Oftentimes, he does focus on a lot of the stuff that is harder to deal with in Japan, some of the more negative aspects, which I feel it's always important from my point of view to balance the good and the bad. For instance, a couple JFAQs ago I did one about how other countries try to look at Japan as a culture of entertainment and make up all these fake items that they use and joke about them, whereas Japan is such a nice and respectful country, they don't do the same thing back to them. They don't find goofy stuff and be like, look, everybody in America uses butt injections to make their butt bigger, because that's something that is sold in America. They don't do that because they're just more polite than that. They're not out to sensationalize America as much as America's out to sensationalize them, or other countries too. I mean, like I said, the UK Guardian was one of the papers that went out of their way to sensationalize articles that they then later had to come back and edit and say, oh gosh, this never actually happened. So I defended Japan in that aspect and talked about how polite they were. But then in the next video I talked about TEPCO, Tokyo Electric Power Company, Tokyo Electric and Power Company, sorry, and how they're screwing over a lot of the survivors of the Fukushima tsunami and leaving them in these absolutely horrible ramshack houses without reimbursing them to get their own houses back, and polluting the area where they could try to get back to their houses, but they can't because the area is so full of radiation they can't live there. So I talk about the positives and the negatives. That's kind of how I like to do my channel. I like to balance it out. I've got Dark Side of Japan series, but I also have other JFAQs called like 10 reasons why you should move to Japan, or 10 reasons why you might want to teach English, and stuff like that. I always, from my perspective, I've always had the philosophy that there's temperance is good with everything, even temperance within temperance, and I fall out of line for that. I do. There's times where I either let my buttons get too pushed in the comments. For example, I really don't like people who comment about how much they know me when they've watched like 1 or 2 videos, or like, how would this guy know anything about raising kids and being married? He's just some stupid teenager, when I've been married for 7 years, have 2 kids, and taught kindergarten for 6 years. It's like, yeah, guess what? You don't know me from watching a fraction of a video. That kind of stuff always pushes my buttons, and sometimes I know I kind of lose it on that. I get a bit frustrated or angry in the comments. I'm not going to try and defend myself and say everything I say is calm and super intelligent. I get my buttons pushed just like any other J-vlogger or vlogger or YouTuber really out there. It's not too different. But for the most part, I like to stay pretty balanced. I do make mistakes sometimes. I make some videos. For example, I made one troll video with Tokyo Sam one time, and then later apologized because I realized, not so cool, Scott. Made a lot of people angry, and my intention is not to go out of my way to make my fans angry. So, but that's where we kind of get on to Ryan Boundless's videos. Is recently that video he made was kind of a troll video. He has a series called Dream Crusher, and as the name pretty much states, it's a video series about crushing your dreams of coming to Japan, talking about all the negatives and why living here isn't as great as you may imagine. You know, I think I think it's good to have a balance when telling people stuff like that. There's some things that I would say, for the most part, from my own perspective, the things that are really good about Japan are so good, they so far outweigh the bad things that I want to live here. That's why I continue to live here and continue to enjoy living here. For me, I guess, one thing, I guess the overriding factor for me is people don't really talk to me here unless they're excited to talk to me about something that they really like, that they notice I like. Like if I'm wearing a band t-shirt that they like, they'll come up and just be excited to talk. I really love that about Japan. I love that about Japanese people. That always really brightens my day and just is a feel-good thing. And it's something I was never exposed to in America. Maybe it exists outside of Florida where I lived. But for the most part, it was something that was very unique to me in Japan. I enjoy the feeling I get every time I meet a person like that who's excited about something I'm excited about. And I don't really deal with a lot of negative comments from people here in Japan. People don't go really out of their way to be like, look at your fucking tattoos and stuff like that. I've never experienced anything like that. I've been denied going into places that I realized later, like, there's a no tattoo policy, but I don't really let that get to me because, I mean, they did put a sign out and tell me, hey, no tattoos. In his, I keep getting back off to my own videos, talking about my own when I'm trying to make the topic Ryan Boundless's videos today. I want to make kind of a comparison so you see what my channel's about and what his is about, and why neither one is necessarily wrong, just that there's a difference of opinion and experience. His Dream Crusher series covers things that kind of dissuade you from coming to Japan, but the newest one was like this troll video. I guess he got kind of angry about a past video, from what I've understood. And please correct me in the comments below if you're like a huge fan of Ryan Boundless and I've gotten this story wrong. He made a video in the past that got a bunch of thumbs down and he was kind of upset about that. So he made this kind of trollish video about how sandwiches in Japan are super expensive and they don't have enough meat in them and stuff like that, and that if you come to Japan you'll starve if you go and buy sandwiches at the conveni. And people were like, I was reading through these comments and they were just like furious, man. People are like losing their shit. And I don't know, like in Ryan's defense, he puts in the comments like, I've trolled everyone with this video. And I think if you really are going to make a troll video, like that's really the purpose of it, and you want that to be really obvious, you have to like put it in the title or something. Like even with like, I think you've probably noticed before, like when Victor or I have done drama videos in the past, we'll put drama in the title so that later people can't be like, I can't believe I watched this drama bullshit. And it's just like, well, if you read the title, then why did you watch it at all? Like, right? So the same thing I think goes for trolling, and it's something I kind of learned myself when I had that whole Sam and Unrested Are Fighting debacle where we weren't actually fighting, we were just setting up for a Maji Yabai Yatsura episode. Like I said, I apologized. I realized that it was a stupid mistake on my part. And I relented and said, you know what, I gotta take a step back here and take a look at myself and check myself before I wreck my channel. I don't know, I mean, yeah, that video he got like, I think something like 250 thumbs down and 160 thumbs up, so it was pretty negatively voted, and even people who like lived within Japan were like, wow, like, I don't know what you're talking about, like, conveni sandwiches aren't that bad, they're not that expensive. I don't remember exactly what price he said they were or anything like that, or how he went about saying that you would starve. I mean, me watching the video, without him having to say I'm trolling, I just kind of figured he was kidding. Like, I was just like, well, he can't be serious, right? Like, this isn't how Japan is. And later in the comments, I saw one of his first comments was, haha, I trolled like weeaboos and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, so he's kind of led on to people that this is a trolling video, but I mean, unless they read every comment or make sure they find his comment in there, I don't really know if they're going to know that, because I mean, if you've never been to Japan, you could assume that this guy is totally telling the truth about it. So I think maybe he made a mistake with that video. With his other Dream Crusher videos, some of the stuff he talks about, I have experienced personally too. I don't know if I've experienced to the extent that he has or been as sensitive about it as he has. For example, like, there's one where he talks about clerks at stores talking to the Japanese person next to him instead of talking to him when he asks about a product. Like, you know, for example, you'll go to a restaurant and be like, hi, I'd like to order this and this and this, and they turn to your Japanese girlfriend or wife or friend and say, oh, so he wants this and this. They don't actually ask you, even though you've talked to them in Japanese. You know, I've experienced that before, and if it's a store just like the supermarket and I'm like, hey, where's the freaking kotatsu sauce or something like that. Kotatsu. the table sauce. Where is the takoyaki sauce is what I meant to say. Like, or where is like the okonomiyaki sauce? And they turn to my wife and are like, hey, it's down this aisle. I don't care, man. It's just like a thing of food there, like whatever. They want to go tell her, great. If I go to an electronics store and I'm asking a very specific electronics question about a piece of electronics that I'm buying and my wife has no idea about, yeah, then I might get pretty disturbed if they're like, hey, I'm going to talk to you only about the electronics this guy's going to buy with the features that it has. And, you know, then and if that happens, I don't really get angry. I just send my wife away. I'm just like, hey, it's cool. Don't worry about this. I'll take care of this. And she's more than happy. She doesn't want to hear about the crap I want to buy in electronics. She'll even tell the guy, she'll be like, you need to talk to him. He's the one purchasing it, and walk off so that he doesn't, or she, whichever person is helping me, won't continue to try and have a conversation with him. I think that is more on them. That's more about them feeling uncomfortable talking to a gaijin. Like, I'm unpredictable because they've never grown up with a gaijin, which I can kind of understand. I guess it's like imagining being put into a neighborhood in a foreign country with no background information at all. You wouldn't quite know how to react or what the cultural differences were, or how to be polite, or what language to speak, or, you know, how to talk to them, or what insults them. You know, maybe they're in a situation where they're worried about something they're going to say is going to anger you because they've insulted you with your own culture. You know, they're not really too worried about you being like, listen, you dickhead, freaking, you know, do what I say. Like, they're not worried about you insulting them. They're more worried that they're going to anger a customer because then their job is on the line. And that's why they go to the Japanese customer, because they're like, you know what, I'm totally safe. I'm not going to get fired because I know I won't say something super stupid to this person. You got to think about it from that aspect. So yes and no. Some of the stuff that he makes in the Dream Crusher series, I can agree with. Some of it I think is just, it's either too extreme, like he's like literally going out of his way to find stuff to be pissed off about, which, that's another thing. I put some time and thought in it, because like I said, I've been getting a lot of emails recently. They're like, what is wrong with Ryan Boundless? Why is this guy so negative, Scott? Can you help me out with this? Like, is it really true that Japan is this horrible? Is he really trying to crush my dreams? And I was like, okay. Like, I answered a couple of these emails already on Facebook, on YouTube, and I was like, I talked to Victor last night because he had just spoken about this this new sandwich video. And I was like, all right, I guess it's time. I better make a video and answer my viewers. Like, because, I mean, like I say, like, the questions my viewers do ask is important. And this is kind of like a very specific, a very esoteric question. I mean, it's within Japan, it's about Japan, but it's also about within our J-Vlogger community. And then again, it's within a specific J-Vlogger. And then even more esoteric, it's a certain video of a J-Vlogger. And people wanted feedback on it, like, is all this stuff true? I think another aspect you need to understand with Ryan, which I've come to learn, and this is with other YouTubers too, this isn't just only Ryan, that there's some people who like to use the medium of YouTube as a sort of cathartic rant time. I think one thing you guys have to understand is while we're here in Japan, we don't really get a chance to vent our feelings in our native language, English, right? That can really lead you to bottle a lot of stuff up inside, and how you deal with that is really up to you. It seems as though I think Ryan sometimes enjoys using the commentary and media of YouTube to get these feelings out. There may be many a times where I feel some of the same exact stuff as he does, but I just don't tell it to YouTube because I just feel like, I don't know, my viewers don't want to listen to a lot of complaining. But okay, but maybe some of his viewers do. And I have nothing against him for making those videos, and I have nothing against his viewers for liking those videos. But it's the same as, okay, so there's some YouTubers out there, like, let's look at Archfiend, Take Shot Action, I guess there's some other YouTubers out there. Who's that other guy, like, he's that little kid. I always think of him as a little kid. He's a nice guy, but he always comes across to me as a little kid. What's his name? Repzar? Is that his name, Repzar? It's some kind of like lizard name. He's pretty popular. He's always having a fight with Oni-san. If you know a lot about YouTube, you'll know all these names I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm like talking another language to you. Anyway, most of these guys go on rants about either YouTubers that piss them off, YouTubers who ask for too much money. Like, there's a lot of these guys who were super angry about when Smosh was going to make a video game and they thought they were asking for too much money. I have no cards in that argument. I'm not going either way. I'm just saying that they made videos about this. And for them, their whole entire channels are literally about ranting. I got a lot of sunlight in here. I gotta try and get the glare. There we go. I got the glare off. It's back. Okay, I can kind of hold my arm up here for a while. So like that's their whole videos. That's what it's about. Is just like ranting and raving and getting angry about what they think is abuse of the YouTube system. And you know, they may or may not be right. I am not, like I said, I'm not about to throw any kind of cards or any kind of side or sword into that battle. I don't want to get into any of those kind of fights. But that's what they use YouTube for, and that's their right. They have every right to do that. I mean, you know, the great thing about YouTube is we can get on there and say anything we want pretty much for the most part, unless, you know, it reaches into the limits of hate speech, and then they'll finally kick you. But I don't think people should, I don't know, get overly angry because he wants to use it as a cathartic place to rant and rave. I think people can kind of get angry if he's using it to troll them, because I feel like sometimes you can really demean your viewers if you try to use your channel as a troll and just be like, haha, I trolled all of you. It's like, well, what do you think of your viewers then? And that's something I really realized the one time I made that one video, and I realized, no, I really love my viewers. They're awesome. They support my channel. They've made my channel from JFAQ asking me questions, so I need to make an apology video, and I did. Whereas, I mean, some people don't care about that. Some people are just like, well, you know what, this is my channel, I'll do what the hell I want. And they have every right to have that attitude too. I guess one aspect I would like to also bring to your attention is, yeah, a lot of his videos are super negative, and I think you should take them all with a grain of salt, that your situation's probably not going to be as negative, or you're not going to be as sensitive about some of these situations as Ryan Boundless is. But also please realize that when, and this is nothing against college kids, but the opposite that I see, the exact other side, that glass too full, is when I see college kids come here and make like a 1 year of videos about Japan, and all they do is like film all the great stuff about it and talk about how awesome it is and how much fun they've had and all the awesome friends they've made, and Japan was perfection, utter perfection. Or like even like a YouTuber comes to Japan for like one manga con or something like that and dresses in cosplay, has a bunch of fun for that like couple of hours they're there for that few days, and then goes home and talks about how Japan is like a magnificent country. Don't believe those either, man. Like, those are also kind of a scam. I mean, you can't really get a good perception of Japan from someone who's lived even just 1 year here. I would go as far as saying even someone who's only lived 2 years here, you still haven't really learned about the real Japan. I feel like when you're getting about 3 or 4 years deep, that's where you start to really realize every aspect of it, where you've had to deal with multiple situations. You've had to go to immigration, you've had to go to the board office, you've had to pay your taxes, you know, you've had to try and acquire a license, get a car, drive the roads, deal with the laws, face companies that really suck or try to cheat you out of your money because they're corrupt English companies, which do exist in Japan. I feel like until you've gone through all the different aspects, tried to get a job outside of teaching, worked in a Japanese company, all these things I've done. I've done all these things, and they give you very different views of Japan. They give you more of a fuller view. Now, I'm not saying I know everything about Japan. I'm not saying I'm the end-all be-all of information about Japan. There is still so much I need to learn, and every day I wake up and realize I've learned something new about this country that I never knew before, whether it be the language or the way people act or the reason they do stuff or the traditions and the, historical or cultural history behind these traditions. So, again, even take what I say in these videos as something you should take with a grain of salt. And always remember, my videos are listed under entertainment. They're not listed under education. So I don't for a second pretend to be some sort of magnificent scholar and professor teaching you all the Japanophile knowledge that you could possibly muster. I don't think I'm the end-all be-all of information on Japan. I think watching a good range of J-vloggers gives you a balanced mix, and watching those that have been here even longer than me probably gives you even better information and more informed information, and watching those J-vloggers who speak better Japanese than me gives you even better information than that. Taking that into consideration, I think you can see where I'm even biased against my own points, where I'm even, take a look and reflect and introspective on my own points. There's videos I've made in the past where I've come back and looked at them, and either number one, the law has changed, so my video is actually completely wrong. First JFAQ number one, the immigration laws are all wrong on that video, and it's not necessarily I made a ton of mistakes, it's that the laws eventually changed from the time I made it, because it's, I think, 7 years old now. But there's other ones I've made where either I've made a Japanese mistake with my Japanese words, or something's changed, or there was something I wasn't doing right to begin with and I was maybe frustrated with it, but really it was me not knowing enough Japanese. So, and I think that's something you've got to learn to grow with as a person making a channel, and that the viewer needs to understand too, that we have to grow with as viewers, as YouTube creators making channels. Alright, I think that's about it. Okay, so let me end it on this. I wrote down a list of things that I wanted to make sure I went over. Let me end it on this, okay? Let me just say, Japan, there's not really a lot to complain about for the most part. I mean, we're in a first world country that has some of the newest technology out as far as transportation. Public transportation is awesome. I mean, we have clean drinking water we can drink. We've got first world medication in hospitals. Food is abundant. You're not going to starve in Japan for a second. Food is not overly expensive if you buy the right things. I mean, if you're going to go out and try and buy, imported fruit every day, yeah, you're going to go broke, okay? That's how it works. But if you simplify your life and think about the simple things in your life, you've got it really, really good here. You've got it really damn good. People are super polite, super patient, really nice, and for the most part there's a pretty positive, upbeat feel to everyone you meet in Japan. You will run into things that you will get upset about, get bitter about, or get angry about, and you'll run into those things in any country. Internationally, those feelings will follow you around. And there will be days that you have really bad days in any country in the world. How you choose to comment about those, take a look back on those, or be introspective about those is totally up to you. What you use a YouTube channel for, if you come to Japan and have experiences you want to share with people, is totally up to you. Again, and it's also up to you, the viewer, to, take everything we say as J-vloggers with a grain of salt. Take everything we say not necessarily as education, but as entertainment, like I like to keep my channel listed as. I hope that's helped you a little bit with that whole situation. I hope you haven't taken away that I have any kind of beef or something with Ryan Boundless. I think he makes great content. I think he's brave enough to put a lot of personal stuff out there on his channel that a lot of other J-vloggers, including myself, are not brave enough to put out there. I wish no ill will towards him or his channel, and I hope it succeeds. And I hope his viewers and my viewers continue to get along for long in the future and make a lot of great videos and have a lot of great constructive conversations here in the comments. Until next time, I'm Unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAQ, Japan's Frequently Asked Questions. Have a good one.